Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson here. I've got Greg McDaniel with me as always. This is the latest edition of Real Estate Uncensored. We are really pumped. This is going to be a really fun episode. This is an interview episode with a guy named Jamie Cox out of Vegas, and we'll learn more about him. But first, let's bring in the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniel.
Hey Matt, what is going on, man? We were just talking off the air. Jamie, you are an absolute rock star. You crushed it in your business, buddy. And I, myself, I know Matt is as well, ready to just drink from the wealth that you're going to bestow upon us. So I appreciate your time, and Matt, for all your wonderful commentary. Jamie, dude, you are a blessing to be here, buddy. Really, really, really thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm glad you guys asked me to jump on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So before we dive in and learn more about Jamie's story and some of the lessons that you can take away from it, I want to point out a couple things. So number one, if you have questions or comments and you're watching this live, right on the Google Plus page, you can actually type in your question, your comment, whatever, as a comment on the Google Plus page. I'll keep my eye out and bring any questions that you guys have got for Greg and Jamie. We'll get them answered live on the air. Number two is if you're watching the replay, make sure to do a couple things. Number one, subscribe on YouTube. That will let you know when future episodes come out, as well as the shorter educational videos that we put out with Greg. And then subscribe on iTunes. And if you like what you hear, make sure to leave a nice review and a rating and so forth. So that will also do you a favor, which means that you'll get the content, and when you subscribe on YouTube, it lets YouTube know that's the type of content that you want, and they will start serving more of that up to you. So even if it's not from our channel, they'll start serving you up, stuff from guys like Brian Casella or Tom Ferry or whatever. So really, really good, solid educational content that'll help you grow your real estate business. So make sure you do a couple of those things. But with that said, yeah, the Meerkat and Periscope. All right, so follow me and Greg. If you want to interact with us live on video, follow us on Periscope. So Greg is at McDaniel Systems. Mine is at Broken Funnel. Usually we'll broadcast about once a day, and then for myself, if I'm doing stuff that's like backstage stuff for McDaniel Real Estate Systems, I'll also post it to our YouTube channel, so that some of those videos are still working their way out, and they'll be coming out shortly to kind of give you a peek of what we do and how we run the systems behind all this production that we put on. So
you mean the magic?
Sure, let's go with that. That's a good word for it. All right. So without further ado, Jamie, so you and I met. You've got a really cool Facebook page that you're kind of slowly building up. I don't know how long it's been in existence, but it's refresh me on the name. It's like Realtor Lead Generation, if I remember right.
Yep.
Okay.
Tips and strategies.
Tips and strategies. Perfect. I knew there was something that I was missing there. So that's kind of how we met. I heard a little bit about Jamie's story when we were chatting when I first joined the group, and that really intrigued me because basically you've managed to exit the day-to-day operations of your business, which is like the holy grail of what as soon as anybody figures out that that's possible, that's the first thing they want to go do is get out of the active day-to-day selling and start managing their own team. So you've achieved that. So, but let's go back to the beginning. Tell me kind of how you got into real estate, where you came from, how you got to Vegas, and how you kicked off your career to begin with.
Well, the beginning started out in Orlando, actually. I was a real estate investor. Some hurricanes came through and kind of messed up Florida for a while and changed the taxes and insurance scene there. So my wife and I decided that we were going to look for a different place to invest. And we landed on Vegas. So we packed up our stuff, sold everything we had, and moved to Vegas. And I was going to be a full-time investor. And when I got here, 2007-ish, the bottom fell out of the market. So through all of the lead gen strategies that I used to attract homes to purchase, I realized that I couldn't purchase any of them. So when I got my license and helped those people sell, and kind of got sucked into the agency side of it rather than the investing side of it.
Yeah, so you started getting into doing short sales, right?
Yeah, I ended up with a giant notebook full of people that wanted me to buy their house, but they were upside down and it didn't make sense to do so. So I learned what a short sale was. I had no idea at the time, to be honest with you. I started doing some research. I started calling all these people back, and they all wanted help, but at that point in time, nobody knew what the solution was. So I offered them a solution. They all started listing their homes with me, and then I had to find ways of putting systems in place to get their sales closed.
Gotcha.
What was that solution that you offered to them? I mean, what was that first process that you took from not knowing what how to work a short sale? Show me that progression really quickly.
Well, in the very beginning, the solution was just giving them a way out, because at that point in time, they just wanted out of their house. Mm-hmm. They didn't care what they sold it for. They didn't care the means that it happened. Most of them, at that time, they didn't even care what a loan modification was. They just wanted out because they owed $700 and their house was worth $300, and it just didn't make any sense. So by explaining to them what a short sale was and what that looked like, they were happy that someone had a solution for them.
So you showed them the way. You actually just gave them content marketing. You put the light and showed them the path to success or freedom or just no more ulcers from stress, right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. At that time, I started a video series on YouTube that I called the Short Sale Show, and I just recorded daily videos of different short sale topics, different scenarios, things that I've done with different banks, and by tagging on YouTube, people from around the country would call me about bank-specific information, and then I ended up just referring that business out to people around the country. So that helped a lot.
Now, when you refer the business to people around the country, how did you network with those folks? Just for everyone who's watching this, who might be new or just getting back into the business, did you go to conferences? Did you leverage your relationships from your brokerage? What did you do to get those relationships?
Well, for me, I luck at the time when I got my license, I had a friend that was an agent with Keller Williams, and he just said join Keller Williams. So I did. I did no research. I had really truly no interest in going the full-on agency route, so I just did what he told me to do. And come to find out, Keller Williams has that pathway for me, so I could easily network with agents all around the country, connect with people, share ideas, pass along referrals, and I didn't really have to build that at all. It was already there for me.
Yeah, KW is an awesome brokerage.
Yeah, and I'm also curious, Jamie, on the lead generation side, so were you doing like direct mail to generate the leads? Like how were you doing that?
No, in the beginning, I was putting up the We Buy Houses signs, we take over payments, because I was still looking for investment opportunities. And when I kind of exhausted that and I realized that the chances of me finding someone with equity that just wanted me to take over their payments or buy them out or something like that was rather slim, once I got all of those people doing the content online, doing the videos, writing the blogs, closing short sales, then they had 3 friends that wanted to close short sales.
Okay.
And at the time, no real estate agent wanted to touch short sales. So then agents in town would come to me saying, I got a short sale, do you want to take this? And since we were doing them, we just kind of got short sales from everywhere.
So how long was it before that, I guess, gravy train or whatever kind of started to run out as the market started to shift and go more normal?
A few years, but I don't know that I would call it a gravy train.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I learned really, really quick that even if you get 50, 60 short sales all at one time, that it's 6, 7, 8 months before you start seeing the income from that.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would call it a gravy train, but it definitely helped me bounce off my career.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, they take multiple different paths. Like myself, I started out doing a lot of door knocking, cold calling, a lot of that stuff. I mean, the way you started off, yeah, it's not a gravy train. Nothing in this business is a gravy train. It is hard work. It always will be hard work. So anyone who's watching this and thinks, oh, well, I just found the easy button to life, you're totally wrong. It's going to be difficult, so please keep that in mind. And, yeah, I mean, Matt, you were doing real estate for a little while. What did you do when you first got in?
I got a marketing program, and I started immediately going after expired listings. I didn't want to work with any buyers. I knew I did not have the at the time I didn't know what my disc profile was. Now I understand why I did not want to work with buyers. So I unknowingly, I guess, stumbled onto the right route for me. So I immediately started calling like expired listings. I put together a pre-listing packet and went after them. So did like the 90-day guaranteed sale program and that whole 9 yards. So.
Yeah, if you study real estate agents across the country, everything works. There's someone succeeding using every lead gen strategy. It truly is just time on task over time and making the commitment to stay focused on one, and it works.
Yeah. So tell me about the transition. Like, what's so let's say the short sales start to run out or the market starts to recover. So you were generating a lot of buyer interest, obviously, off of all these listings you've got. So did you pull in like a buyer's agent? Were you just referring buyer deals out all over the place? And take me through that transition period to more of a normal, stable real estate business, whatever you want to call it.
I did exactly what you said, and it actually turned out to be one of the biggest mistakes and one of the biggest learning lessons for me. So I knew that as I just made the decision to go into agency, I knew that I wanted to build a business and that I didn't want to be driving buyers around. So it's my opinion that when you're working exclusively with buyers, you're essentially trading time for money. So you get to 40 or 50 hour work week. A good buyer's agent can maybe do 6 or 7 buyers a week, maybe. And at some point in time, you have to make the decision: do I want to work more hours and not spend time with my family, or do I want to limit my income by working 40 to 50 hours a week? So I knew that I was going to have to leverage in some way. So I brought on a buyer's agent, and I had no idea what I was doing. So my conversation with someone in my office was, hey, I have a bunch of buyers calling me. Can I have them call you because I don't want to talk to them? I can't train you because I don't know what I'm doing. I can't offer you systems because I don't know what systems you need. But I'm going to give you a bunch of names and numbers, and if something closes, you pay me a referral. And after about 6 months, I never saw a referral. So I went to her, and I said, what's going on? And she goes, oh, I'm only calling the leads that are over $500,000.
What?
And at that time, in Vegas, the average sales price was around $100,000. So to get a $500,000
Really?
house was crazy. And
Wow.
this is a true story. So I literally had hundreds, if not thousands, of buyer leads that had came in over the 6-month period. So I went to the owner of my office and I said, look, this is what I'm doing. Can you give me some insight on how to do this properly? And she gave me this book with models and systems and things like that. So I read through the book, and I realized that there was an opportunity on the buy side, and I just needed to do it right. So I went out and I found 3 or 4 buyer's agents again. And my value proposition to them this time was, I'm going to learn, I'm going to teach you guys, I'm going to hold you accountable, things like that. First, I want you to go back through and call all of these people to see if you can bring them back to life, and you're still going to get the new leads that are coming in. And I'll never forget this number. Within that week, all of the agents that I brought on called every lead from the previous 6 months. 59 of them said that they had bought a house.
Whoa.
And that's kind of when the light bulb went off, that I was missing out on a huge opportunity by not paying attention to the buyer side and by not getting that system right.
Wow.
So as we grew, I realized that I made another huge mistake by hiring a buyer's agent first, because eventually that kind of fizzled. And I realized that I could have leveraged more time by paying an assistant or 2 assistants a salary and paying 35 or 70 grand a year, rather than giving up half of every single commission check that came in to a buyer's agent. So a lot of people I see coming into the business wanting to build teams, they immediately go to that buyer's agent because it doesn't cost them a weekly paycheck or bi-weekly paycheck. If that buyer's agent doesn't perform, then I don't have to pay them, is kind of the mentality that I see. And what ends up happening is they do well, but you end up giving away a lot of your income when you could have just paid $30,000 or $40,000 salary.
Right, but with that being said, I mean, without the accountability that you were talking about, I mean, a buyer's agent is a buyer's agent. They're going to run around. But if you know, as a team lead or a rainmaker or whatever you are, that you have a paycheck you've got to cut, it's going to get you out of your bed, out on the streets, on the phones, working your systems, doing what you need to do, because you need to support that other individual. That's a huge driving cause, and it depends on how you work. For me, that gets me out of bed. We have our team manager who is on a salary and bonuses and everything else, and other admin staff, and knowing that I have to feed them through deals or I feed them through my money, that gets me moving. And I think that a lot of the times when people, like you said, Jamie, it's very important to start with an admin, someone that you trust, but you have to take them through the DISC profile. Do you take your people through the DISC profile or some other personality trait, so you understand where they're coming from? Because if you put like someone like me, a high D, high I, entering data and doing spreadsheets, I would shoot myself.
Right.
Either that or I'd fall asleep at the desk. One of the two. It's not happening.
You'd fall asleep with the gun in your hand.
Yeah, I'll do it later.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't sit. We were kind of talking about this before we went on. I don't have the personality for that, and that would drive me nuts. You might be able to do it for a day or two, but then you're not showing up. No. So yeah, and I agree with you. A lot of people, as they start building a team, the conversation that I have with them is, everyone thinks about hiring an admin in Vegas, a good admin makes $40,000-ish. They all have in their head a $40,000 salary, But in reality, you're only committing to 2 weeks or a month of salary. So it might be $3,000 or $3,500 that you're risking. And if you hire slow and fire quick, you know within a week if you've hired the right person or not. If your life isn't immediately better, you've hired the wrong person. And at that point in time, you let them go a week or two into the process, and you've only spent a week or two of income towards their payroll. So you're not risking $40,000. You're risking 2 weeks' salary.
Yeah, in their mind, they have a $40,000 salary, and when we brought on Eileen, our team manager, we immediately knew she was right when she could start, answering questions that we were going to pose prior to us asking them, or knowing the answers to questions, or just getting us the data that we already wanted. And so it's that feeling, it's that gut feeling. You'll say like, okay, yeah, this one's good. I'll keep this one. So yeah.
Yeah. When they tell you you're not allowed to touch things and they start taking things away from you that
there's a door.
They do better, it changes your life.
Yeah. Excellent point. So we've kind of covered kind of the transition period. So you mistakenly went out and got a buyer's agent. That didn't work out. But then the 3 to 4 buyer's agents, like bringing them onto your team and then holding them accountable, so that ended up working out well for you, right? You fed them the leads. You kind of built a system to kind of hold them accountable. And then I'm assuming you added some admin staff in there to kind of support that group. Is that right?
Yeah. Over time, there's been people coming and going. But yeah, once I figured out that my value to the team wasn't the leads. My whole mentality as I went through the first few years was I have to generate as many leads as I possibly can to keep these guys busy, and everything else kind of works itself out. Once I realized that my value was the actual admin staff, the systems, the structure, the accountability, all of that, and being able to offer them a true net income, once I wrapped my head around that, that's when things started to grow really quickly.
Gotcha. So take us through, what is your team looking like right now?
So today I have 2 admin, I have myself, and then I have 6 producing agents.
Okay, and they're not just, are they role specialized, or they can list and work with buyers?
They can list and work with buyers. Everybody on the team can do both. What naturally happens is people gravitate towards what they like more, but rather than me pigeonholing them into you're a listing agent and you're a buyer's agent, our team is listing focused, so everybody comes in the morning, and until 11:30 we're lead generating for listings, and that makes the process easier. When I had a division between listing agents and buyer's agents, the conversation from the buyer's agents were, well, why am I going to prospect for listings? Mm-hmm. And now to be able to sit down and paint a picture to everybody on the team that they can hit their annual income goal just by 1 or 2 listings a week. And then they take out the buyers that are really highly motivated buyers, so they're not wasting 2 or 3 weeks with one buyer. It changes their perspective and their life.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically your model, Greg.
Yeah.
I mean, and you work, so outside of the stuff that we do for our business, McDaniel Real Estate Systems, and the coaching and like developing training products and stuff like that, I mean, we figured it out the other day. You spend probably 4 to 5 hours a day, quote, in your real estate business, right?
Yeah, in my business, that's about the right amount of time. And there's, one thing, Jamie, I want to ask you, because I've been battling with my business partners on this, and when you brought on your additional agents, and you had an existing database, right? Mm-hmm. What did you have your people call through that database? And if you did, how did you work it with them? Was it a 50-50 split? Were they on a sliding scale? Once they started, producing more, every deal they got more commission, holding at a certain level. How did you handle that so that everybody was equitable and everybody was on the same team fighting for the same goal?
So if we're talking splits, on the buy side, my team is all 50-50. Mm-hmm. And on the list side, it's 30-70. 70 to the team, 30 to the agents. Now, we do have an existing database with a lot of past clients. So what that looks like is if our past client comes in and wants to sell, I'm not taking that listing. It's going to one of the agents. And then if they get their own, then they take their own listing. And it was a real eye-opener for me as I stepped out of the business that my livelihood now depends on their ability to produce. So it changes my perspective where I have to add value to their life, otherwise my family doesn't get the things that I want. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that's
So
flat
being,
across the board, right? And there's no exceptions. There's no sliding scales. So Jamie, you're on Greg McDaniel's team. One of my past clients wants to sell their house. You called them out of the database. You'll get 30%. The house gets 70%. Nothing off the top. Flat done.
right, right.
Okay.
And I think it's important to talk about the way that my team is set up and how I justify that, though. An agent on my team, let's say they come in this morning and they're prospecting for listings. They schedule an appointment. All they do is print out the tax sheet. They hand it to our team manager. She puts together all of the listing paperwork, all the disclosures, everything they need so that they can get back on the phone and keep prospecting for additional listings. They walk out of the office, they pick up the folder, they get it signed, they come back and they hand it to her, and they're done until they show up at the signing. So she then reaches out to the seller, introduces herself, which they should already have a card from the listing appointment. She schedules the housekeeper, she schedules the photographer, she fields the offers, she presents them to the seller. Everything is done by the team, all the way up until the agent checks in once a week just to maintain that relationship, because they are the face of the team at that point. And then they show up at the signing to hopefully solidify that relationship and maintain it and get referrals and things like that. But the team is doing all of the admin stuff, so every agent on the team can stay focused on their 20%, stay focused on generating more listings.
Interesting.
That's interesting. So just to get this straight, so you've actually outsourced, or you've maybe not outsourced, maybe centralized is a better word, the negotiation part. So literally your agents they're almost like an inside sales staff. They're generating leads, setting appointments, taking appointments, and then the team manager does the rest, including fielding the offers and working with the sellers on what offers to accept and how to counter.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
See,
I haven't heard of
almost
anybody else doing that.
We're almost like that, minus, just take out the negotiations on the contract and that aspect. Our team manager does everything else. She writes the contract. She gets everything
That's a big piece,
signed.
Oh,
it's a huge
the negotiation phase. I mean, that's a huge time suck, and that's usually one of the, I guess, one of the big value adds of an outside sales agent is not just the prospecting, but then the negotiation phase. So I haven't seen any other teams that centralize that at all. So Jamie, was that something you just stumbled across? Is it something that maybe there's a team out there that I'm not aware of that you learned from that was doing that?
Well, here's what happens. I know Ben Kenny up in Bellingham, Washington area has a similar model, and I talk to people all over the country that have all their different ideas. But for me, it kind of happened naturally. So as I bring on agents to the team, there's still a learning curve if they're newer agents. If they're experienced agents, it's a little different. But if they're a newer agent, little things like addressing home inspection issues or addressing low appraisals, it sucks up a lot of their time. And they get distracted and they get stressed and they get worried and they may communicate the wrong way to the seller. If I can control the seller's experience across the board by making them work with our admin staff, then we're going to have a better results all around.
Yeah,
so I can control the whole experience. So it's not going to be one experience with this agent and a different experience with this agent. Everyone's going to get the same treatment.
Well, and you don't have 20 agents running around all trying to get educated on the latest small, minute changes in every aspect of the paperwork and every different rule change and all this stuff that really doesn't affect their ability to sell anything.
Right. Their job is to add incremental growth to our business. So our annual goal is 200 transactions, and as we've added these new agents, the summation of everybody's goals on the team, it should put us up closer to 300 next year if everyone comes even close to hitting their goal. And the only way that I'm going to do that is to keep them in production and keep them working on their 20% and not distracted by that other garbage that everybody gets sucked into.
So sorry, go ahead.
At this point, every single agent that I bring on the team, it's just incremental growth. They could come on and do nothing. They wouldn't last very long with us. But every agent that I add is incremental growth.
So 2 questions. One, are you providing the lead gen like a list for them to go call? And second off, are you giving them the tools, aka like Mojo or Callfire or something like that, to crank through the numbers? Or are they doing pop buys? Are they sending out postcards in their name? What is the system that you're giving these folks? Because that's that's really where it comes down for their time efficiency. And then for the admin, I'm assuming they have a salary plus a bonus per transaction, or how do you guys structure that?
The admin is a base salary plus a bonus based on how much we profit. So my actual original proposal to the admin when I brought the first one on was a quarterly bonus. We look at the profit, and it's a sliding scale. If we profit $100,000, your bonus is this. If we profit $200,000, it's this. And she actually said, you know what? I like that, but can we do it annually? Really? So the way that she's set up is a monthly salary, which is on the high end of the scale for here in town because she's awesome. And then at the end of the year, she'll get a bonus based on profit. So sitting right now, she's looking somewhere around a $12,000 bonus at the end of the year.
Wow. So it's almost like a big savings account for her.
That's exactly why she wanted that. She didn't want to accidentally spend it over the course of the year. She just wanted a big bonus.
That's very smart.
All right, so back to the lead gen question. I know we talked about this before we went on the air. So you guys do a lot of circle prospecting. So take us what that looks like for an agent on your team.
Yeah. So I want my agent's income to be a true net income. Their only expense is to maintain their license and membership at the association. So I pay for dialing software for every member on the team. Mojo's a good product. I happen to use SalesDialers.
SalesDialer?
SalesDialers, yeah.
It's called SalesDialers?
Yep.
Okay.
It's plural. And it's a 4-line dialer rather than a 3-line dialer. And it integrates with Follow Up Boss, which is the follow-up system that I use. We use Cole Realty Resource to download our call list. Good
stuff, man.
We pay the extra to have the cell phone numbers. It's well worth it. I think it's $1,200 a year or something like that. Overall, it's minimal compared to what you get out of it. And we essentially, we don't call for sale by owners, we don't call expireds, we don't call any of that. We just circle prospect. We were calling around just listeds, but what we learned happened is they sell so fast. By the time we finish the just listed calls, we have to call the same people and tell them that it sold. So,
that's a pretty good problem to have.
Well, I'd like to say that that's a reflection of me, but it's our market. If it's on the market more than 2 weeks, then we've done something wrong. So we call it only just solds. We pull up in Cole. We do a half-mile radius, and we call around and just say, hey, we just sold the house on this street. We got a lot of activity, so we decided to call around and see if anyone else had thought about selling. And people say yes.
I do the same exact thing. I just use Mojo for that, but I just bought Cole as well. But I'm using it with Slide Dial Broadcast. Have you guys started using that yet?
I keep saying that I'm going to, but I haven't done it yet.
It's scary as all hell. I will tell you that because you're like, oh, shit. When I hit this button, am I going to get yelled at? But I'll tell you right now, check this out. So I bought the $100 broadcast version, right, last week. And I'm tinkering with this thing. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I'm doing my circle prospecting. I'm doing all this, and I'm down to my last 500 calls, or blasts out. And I found out 2 very important things. One, telling someone that a home just sold around the corner gets people really pissed. They're like, stop broadcasting to me. I'm going to report you. You're a blank, 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 right? But when you call in, hey, your neighbor just sold around the corner. By the way, we have 3 additional buyers, the Johnsons, the Smiths, and the make up another name. And they're looking to buy. If you're thinking about selling, you're a 4-2, please call me. I did that, right? I got one. I did it in Walnut Creek, a city near me, and I got 3 people to call me back saying, yeah, we're thinking about selling. I looked these houses up. They're like $3 million. A little too pricey for my buyer, but hey, I'll take the listing. Right. And then a guy calls me and goes, hey, I got a lot of off the market properties. Now that was neat, but that's not the neatest part about this whole Slide Dial. So my last 500 is over here, right through that wall. It's called Westside Danville. Nothing under $1 million, $1.1 million. And I was doing for a buyer in there, talking about a sold property, and an agent calls me back, and she goes, hey, Greg, you called my client on beta. It's not on the market yet, but thinking about selling. Well, this house ends up to be perfect for our client and our team. And so what is probably going to happen? We're going to show it next week. With that one call, we're going to get ahead of the market on that beta property, and then we're going to sell 2 additional properties. So it's about a $5 million sale all the way around, if not more, of that one call. And it's showing people success, not bragging about the fact that you sold the home, but saying, you know, one sold so quickly, our other families couldn't take advantage of it. Or have you been thinking about taking advantage of the prices yourself? And that is something I took away from it. So Jamie, dude, go buy the $100 package. It's 2,000 broadcasts. Obviously, short, you know, sort and sift just the cell phones, and press go. Oh, here's the other tip. If you're going to do that, do the callback number, not the line you're going to be answering, because it lights up like a Christmas tree.
I believe it.
I'm looking at this phone. Yeah, I dropped like 400, almost 500 messages. I had 28 people call me back in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
But they leave messages, then you go through the messages, then you call them back on your line. If they listen to the message, you tell them to call the actual line. So I had about 3 or 4 people that are actually smart enough to listen to the message, and they actually called me. And they called me, "Hi, is this Greg?" "Yeah, it's Greg." "Hi, this is John. We don't live there anymore, so you called the wrong number. We just wanted to tell you called the wrong number and so help you go find the right number. Okay, bye-byes now." Click.
That's funny. Yeah, well, we've been thinking about signing up for it. It just hasn't become a priority for us. But now that you say that, I'm going to do it. What we wanted to do was take our neighborhood that we try to focus on and download the list from Cole, upload it to Slide Broadcast, and just once a month call with a market update. 52 homes sold last month. The average sale price was this. The average time on market was this. No sales pitch, just straight information. I'm sure you've seen our signs in the neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. And just once a month, a giant broadcast to our target community just to touch them.
Yeah, you can only go up to 2 miles out and only do 1,500 records per poll. So since we're in circles here, and if you're doing circle, 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 you're going to end up having cross. You know, people are going to start getting multiple people.
Right.
They're going to be like, "Jamie, bro, I got your message. I know what the market did." That's the only thing I'll warn you about. But I do think that's super powerful, and I think you'll get a lot of good results. And I want to stay in touch with you if that's cool with you once you start with this. And I would love to trade, you know, what's working, what's not, so we both can grow our businesses.
Always, yeah, love that.
Cool, buddy.
So take me through a little bit about how you're coaching your agents up to do these type of circle prospecting calls, and if there's any scripting tips or anything like that you can give somebody that wants to start doing more of that type of prospecting. Oh,
well, I think you're about to be really disappointed. It's not rocket science. You know, we set
you know, like a big book of scripts. No,
you know, we set a goal of coming in and practicing scripts every day because everybody says that that's what you're supposed to do, you know. And we learned that once we got the script down of, hey, we just sold a house right around the corner, we had a lot of activity, so we thought we'd call around the community to see if anyone else had thought about selling. People just say yes. And if they say no, we ask them if they did sell, then when would it be? And if they still say they don't know, then we just say, well, can I have your permission to check in or keep in touch with you and check in every 3 or 4 months? And if they say yes to that, we throw them in Follow-Up Boss. We send them a thank you card because we already have their address. And we do exactly what we said. We call them every 3 or 4 months and just remind them who we are.
Jamie, have you ever used or worked with prime seller leads?
I haven't, no.
I'm just starting a relationship with them on our team, and they integrate directly with Follow-Up Boss. Their back-end follow-up drip campaign systems are fantastic. They do voicemail, they do emails, video emails, voicemails, text messages, and postcards, all alternating. I've already gotten 3 CMAs out of it, and it's been 10 days.
Nice. I've heard of them. I just haven't. I'm leery. I think I'm a true believer that you can $50 a month yourself right out of the business. So I try to keep things very lean and not add a lot of different systems that we have to maintain and learn and all of that. But I have heard good things about them.
What does your follow-up system look like? As you mentioned off the air, it's more personal, more combination of thank you cards and calls, and they're using Follow-Up Boss as the mechanism to remind your agents to do that. So explain that a little bit more, what that looks like to an agent on your team.
So Follow-Up Boss, it kind of follows my whole mentality, which I think is why I love it. It's just super simple. You talk to someone, up in the top you click a button that says follow up in a day, 3 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, or 1 month. And then it reminds you when you come in a month that you're supposed to call that person. So you can label what the task is. Is it a call? Is it a letter? Is it a stop by their house, or whatever it may be? So we use follow-up to manage that task, and this is actually where our newer admin comes into play. Is that, you know, when an agent talks to someone and they get permission to keep in touch with them, the first thing that they do is mail a thank you card saying, thanks for taking the time, here's my contact information. And every single listing appointment we go on, we see that thank you card there. So it's super important. And then over time, the agent's job is to solidify that relationship, get more information, find out their birthday, find out events in their lives and activities. And then our new admin helps them maintain that, so that the tasks that they're doing truly are personal touches. Hey, I was just calling to check in. Did you get the birthday card that I sent you? And that birthday card was actually sent by our admin, who monitors all of the Follow Up Boss accounts. So their touches truly are just personal phone calls, or another letter sent to them, or something like that. And again, leveraging our admin staff to do the stuff that they don't have to be the ones doing. The last thing I want is 6 agents sitting in a room mailing out birthday cards rather than talking to people. The more I can keep them talking to people, the better off everybody's going to be.
Jamie, I just had an idea for you. With cold data, it has when the home was sold, and you can sort by date, right? If I remember correctly, on the database aspect of it.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't pull the data. Our admin pulls the data and uploads it into everybody's dialer, so I couldn't tell you what it looks like.
This is just my thought here. So a lot of people do anniversaries for couples when you got married and your kids have birthdays, yada yada. But with the cool data, when you go into the database area where you can pull all the information, like when it sold, the homeowners, what the value is, what they bought it for, yada yada. You also pull when you purchased it. So if you can sort by the date purchased and then correlate that with the date that you're pulling the data, have your agents go out with a happy anniversary card to, I don't know, 5, 10 houses. Say, happy anniversary, you bought your home X amount of years ago today. You know, courtesy the Cox team.
Right.
You know,
love it.
Bring a little gift card, a little coupon you've developed with a restaurant or a casino or something like that in your area. Now that I have that data, I can actually do that. Thank you for that idea. I appreciate it.
No, I love that you brought that up, because some of the touches are not just the anniversary, but we partner with a carpet cleaner who gives us a discount. They pay for the printing of the postcards. So we have a carpet cleaner, a bug guy, some other vendors, plumber that we work with. They pay for the postcards. It's co-branded with both of us, and then we mail them out to our clients, not all at one time, but whenever the task comes up, we'll send them a $20 off your next carpet cleaning, or first month of book service for free, or whatever that may be. So it's just another way of the agents touching them.
So yeah, very cool. And that's something that Greg, you have your good guy list that your dad's been building over the last, I don't know, 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
This is something that we do. We go get these. This is just an example. This is called nakedwines.com. It's a Napa winery place, and we go out we have one for Forbes. We want a steakhouse here in the area. We just pay for the printing of the card. The institution honors the deal, and we give those out quite a bit. Whoops, sorry for hitting the mic. And it seems to be a really big hit. Do you guys have like a nice high-end steakhouse or something that you guys like to go to that might benefit from you guys handing this out?
Probably it's Vegas. We have high-end everything here.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true.
Yes, I haven't done that though. I haven't thought about that, to be honest with you. I've always focused on landscapers, carpet cleaners, bug guys, plumber, like home-related stuff. But I love that idea.
I partnered
Get the
up with
community
another.
involved around.
This is a $50 gift card, and this is for. By the way, this is 100% free. I don't even pay for the printing on this at all. This is either for a masseuse or for a chiropractor. Your choice, $50.
Love it. Love it.
Moving is very stressful. Why don't you go get a massage or get that kink worked out?
I'm stealing that. I love that.
Do it, man. It works like a charm. It really does. It's like stealing candy from a baby. You're like, you want this? You want this? You want this? Here, sign the listing paper, please.
All right, so Jamie, we've got about 20 minutes left. I want to make sure that we cover some other things that are real nuts and bolts, practical value to someone that's kind of trying to get to the same position that you're at.
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, what do you think was the biggest kind of hurdle or the biggest obstacle to getting to the point where you could really turn over, especially the listing part? I mean, I think that's the piece that agents struggle letting go of the most, is going on that listing appointment. Nothing trumps a listing appointment ever. Like there could be an earthquake outside, somebody, a relative is giving birth, but if somebody calls up and says list my house, they're going on that listing appointment, right? So so what was the I mean, how did you let that go, and what do you think are just some of the big hurdles that you had to overcome in getting to the point where you could withdraw yourself from actually taking listings yourself?
Well, that was the hardest part, letting the listings go. I got to the point where if I went on a listing agreement or a listing appointment, I was coming back with a listing agreement. Yeah. Very rarely would I go and not come home with the listing. And as I started letting go of the actual listings, I realized that not everybody was going to convert at that rate, especially if they were new agents. So I had to transition from being an agent, and as corny as it sounds, to being a true business owner. And I had to develop better training systems. I had to become a better leader, and I had to make sure that the people going on the appointments were better than I was. So it became an education opportunity for me to go out and learn how to teach what I know, or what I was doing, because over time you just get the experience. It becomes natural. You don't realize that you're overcoming objections or handling objections beforehand. So I really had to systematize what I did, which meant I had to step back and figure out where I picked it up and how I could teach other people to do it. And let me tell you that a few weeks ago I brought on a new agent, and she was a little experienced. Her first week with us, she went on 9 listing appointments and came back with 2. And that hurts. That really hurts. And my options are invest in better training for them or go with her on the appointments. And if I'm going to do that, then I might as well just go on the appointments myself. So it really becomes about treating my business as a business and having specific training days, specific training topics, making sure they know the conversion skills, making sure they know the contracts, really investing in the people. It all boils down to investing in them.
What are some of the things that you found to be the most beneficial to invest into them? Is it scripts, techniques, products, timing, goals, goal planning? What is it? What gets them going?
Well, I think what gets them going is understanding how their activities on the team will always help them accomplish whatever their personal goals are. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I have to make sure that I do is always make sure that my vision is big enough that everyone that's part of our organization is able to hit their goals. Because if they're not, then there's no reason for them to even be on our team. Right. And then once I've established that our vision is big enough, then it just becomes a matter of reminding them of that vision and reminding them how the little day-to-day tasks help them get there.
So do you work it backwards with them? So let's say Matt and Greg are on your team, and we have X, Y, and Z goals. Do you ever sit down with your team members and say, okay, Greg, okay, Matt, you want to achieve this, you have to do this on a daily basis. So I know I want to make $100,000, just for an example. That means I have to do 150 phone calls a day, because my conversion rate is at 15%. I can talk to 15% of the people, and I convert 3% of those people, and then I get a listing a day, or so, I don't know, whatever the numbers actually work out to be. But you see what I'm saying? Do you work it down like that with them so that they see how small the actual steps are, so they're not scared by the huge, oh my God, I got to make $100,000, I don't know where to start.
Right. That's where we start, and I don't know what it is about $100,000, but I meet with 3, sometimes 4 agents a day about joining our team. My sole job is to meet with talent, right, or look for talent from all over the country. And everybody that I meet with, 100 to 125,000. That's what they want. And it's really interesting to sit down and show them that if that's what they want, all they have to do is make 20 contacts a day. That's it.
Is
20
that
contacts a day.
is that
You'll make
talking to 20 people, or is that making 20 phone calls?
No, talking to 20 people. If you, in my market, if you talk to 100 people a week, you'll make 100 grand a year.
So I can do
So
200. So let's double the ante. Let's triple the ante. Let's work late. Let's burn the candle at both ends. Let's make 500,000.
right. So my job is to ask them questions that get them to think bigger. So I'm always asking them, if you did this or you did this and we generated this revenue, I could add an ISA that worked exclusively for you. So then you're making 20 contacts a week, they're making 100 contacts, or you're making 20 contacts a day, they're making 100 contacts a day, you're getting all of those leads, and now all of a sudden you're making 300,000 a year. Or someone that's already doing those volumes, then I could say, you know what? We're looking to expand outside of Vegas. I need someone that knows our culture, that knows our systems, that I could assign a region, and then they're in charge of hiring agents within that region, and then they get a small piece of everything within that region. And it gets kind of carried away when you talk about having a team in every city around the country and then around the world and all of that. But my job really is to keep thinking bigger so that every time they're getting close to their goal, there's another goal and opportunity for them on my team so they don't have to go look somewhere else for that opportunity.
I knew we were going to be friends. That's the same way I think. It's always like, I have a strategy sessions with friends of mine, and I call them taking over the world talks, and it's just getting in there and really kind of breaking it down and visualizing what your life could be like, what their lives could be like. And I love the attitude that you have. I haven't heard you once say, this is what's in it for me. You've always consistently said it's in for my team. What's best for my team? What's best for my agents? What's best for my admin? Mm-hmm. You're so selfless, and that's why people want to work for you. Because you're not like, look, pal, you're going to make me so much freaking money that I'm going to be driving around my gold Bentley. You're like, no, dude, I want to make you so much money, you're going to have 6 gold Bentleys. And that's the distinguishing difference between most agents and yourself. So kudos to you, man. You're really doing a great job.
I appreciate that. I really do.
I actually mean it.
Well, Jamie, go into a little more depth into the numbers, because the cool thing about it is you've got like this master spreadsheet, and we were talking a little bit about this earlier. So take me through kind of how you track things, and then how you know your numbers in your market, and exactly how many contacts it takes to get a listing and a deal and all that, so people get an idea of what it really takes. Sure.
So we've measured this forever over countless agents, and it holds true no matter the agent's skill level. 750 calls approximately equals 100 contacts. And this is in our market, circle prospecting. It's 100 contacts. For every 100 contacts, it's 1 to 2 listings. So from that point, it's simple math of what they need to do to hit their goal. Do you want to do 4 listings a month? Then you need to make 40 contacts a day. What we do is every person on the team has a binder that they get every week, and it has 5 sheets with at least 20 contacts per day. So every time they make a contact, they jot it down. At the end of every week, they have to total it up and share at our team meeting how many contacts they made, did they hit their goal, how many nurtures they had, how many they added to their database, things like that. And then they have to answer a question of what their biggest obstacle was. And then we take those obstacles, our meetings are on Fridays, we take those obstacles and we build a training on Tuesdays around those obstacles, so that the following week we're eliminating those obstacles so that we don't run into them again. So it really is simple math. 750 calls equals 100 contacts. It's 1 to 2 listings. How many listings do you want to take?
Love it. That's awesome. And we're talking a little bit about so the spreadsheet that you have, you've got a really cool program that stacks on top of that shows you a visual dashboard of what's going on with your whole team. And then you're thinking about also doing the pipeline wizard to help the agents kind of collaborate and help hold each other accountable. So tell me a little bit about what your system looks like right now.
So right now, everything is tracked on Google Sheets, where our admin keeps track of our active listings, our pending listings, our active buyers, and then our closed volume. And I use a service called Klipfolio. It's spelled with a K, Klipfolio. I think it's $20 a month. I don't know how much I actually pay for it. But what it does is it goes into the Google Spreadsheets, and it creates a visual display of your numbers. And you could have different sheets that play through a slideshow. So I wish I could walk you over to my office right now. We have a few offices here in the building, and we have TVs up on the wall. So if you walk into one of our offices, our numbers are up on the TV, and it shows total sales volume, pending listings, pending buyers, percentage of listings to buyers, annual sales volume, GCI predictions over the next 2 months based on or next future. It usually ends up being just 2 months, based on what's currently pending. That way we can always look and say, oh, we only have 170,000 pending next month. We're 10,000 short of where we need to be, or our October has already started off slow because we don't have enough pendings for the first few weeks. At a glance, every person on the team could see where we're lacking and what we're hitting and what we're not. Every metric of our business.
I am looking at it right now, and that is an impressive system.
Now take me through, like, so let's say you're starting short, or you're kind of coming up short of your goals. What's some of the things that you might do as a team to just give the sales a jump start?
Well, again, for us, it's not rocket science. It's all a function of contacts. So if we see that if we're not hitting the numbers that we need to hit, we're either not making our contacts, and if we are, then it's a conversion issue. So it's either contacts or training, and it's really easy to identify which one it is. Yeah. As big as we've gotten, if one person isn't hitting their contacts, it doesn't hurt us as much as if there were only 1 or 2 people calling. So it's harder to see that unless we're tracking it individually.
So would you guys do like a call blitz to make up for that shortfall? Do that at all?
No, it's just a matter of, well, instead of hitting 20 contacts today, we need to hit 40. And it's never, going back to what you said, it's never a me thing. It's doing what we're doing, you're not going to hit your numbers. So we either need to work on your conversion or we need to increase your training. And that's what we do.
Can you track individual agents, or is it the overall brokerage as a whole?
Are we talking about Klipfolio?
Yeah, sorry, Klipfolio. Yeah.
So Klipfolio itself doesn't track anything. You have to track it on whatever spreadsheet that you manage. And then what you do is you go into Klipfolio and you say, I want you to pull this data and put it in a bar graph, or I want you to pull this data and put it in a pie chart, or whatever. Like I wish I could show you. In the middle of the screen is a big pie chart because we want to be listing heavy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a pie chart that's divided in half or 3/4 of whatever, and we know at all times we're 65% listings and 35% buyers, or 50-50 or whatever, and it's very prominent right in the middle.
I can do a screen share really quickly, Matt, because I have it pulled up over here, and we can kind of get a quick idea if you want to do that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
It kind of takes a little bit to set up, but once it's set up, you don't touch it,
Yeah, and I think there's a misconception among agents that this is something that, well, if I had a team, I'd get around to that. But, I mean, the top guys, yourself included, one of the other guys that I work with, Jeff Cohn, he started doing that. He tracked it all in an Excel spreadsheet when he was a solo agent. He literally has his numbers going back for the last 7 years, all the way back to when he was a solo agent, because there's so many insights to be gained from it.
Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually really, really interesting because we track everything just like you guys, Jamie, you guys do at your office, and having something visual like this, I think, is what most people need. I know that a lot of the top producers like your office and other groups, they have this up on the screens around it, so it creates that competition atmosphere, but it also shows everyone where you are. So if you guys are missing the mark, like you said, by 10 grand, well, let's step it up. Let's do another, 500 phone calls. Let's get that next deal.
Yeah, the numbers that you have up there at the top, like what is that, 1,283 or whatever, you can actually set rules. So if it's below a certain number, it turns red and it gets a giant exclamation mark. So at a glance, you can see what stands out, or you can make it turn green or whatever. So on our commission forecast, or our closings forecast, it has a bar graph with a dollar amount above it saying how much we have pending and how much we expect to close that month. And then it has a line graph over top of it showing the amount of buyers and the amount of sellers that compile up, or make up that GCI.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Very, very interesting.
Very, very cool. That's a great, and I think on like an individual level, we were talking about, Jamie, you were thinking about doing like Pipeline Wizard for your agents. That's part of the cool thing about that is it's kind of has that same visual layout, so you can track like number of contacts made, appointments set, and stuff like that. And it does something similar, so it lives on top of the tracking process, and then gives you a lot of the graphs and visual representation. And then there's some gamification stuff that goes in with that. So like if you're a solo agent, I mean that's something like there's a great way to probably emulate that would be Pipeline Wizard on an individual level. So yeah, very cool.
My assistant actually talked to them. I don't know how long ago. It's been a week or two ago about signing it because she still hasn't maintained the spreadsheet in order for Klipfolio to work. So we were looking for a system where she didn't have to spend the time to maintain the spreadsheet. And from what I understand, Pipeline Wizard may help us accomplish that.
Yeah. We just had Jesse on the show, I don't know, a few weeks back, something like that. So yeah, like his so the 2.0 version is really well suited for teams. And Jamie, for you, I mean, obviously we'll talk about this in a second, but you're expanding hopefully regionally and then maybe even nationally. So his new version of Pipeline Wizard will allow you to run the same dashboard for multiple teams, no matter where they are, from one central place, which is perfect for the whole mega agent expansion movement. So, so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you're meeting with a lot of people, obviously. People are going to see this in your area. People might be coming into your area or want to send referrals your way. I mean, obviously our audience is huge in the California market, so there's a lot of crisscross there. So what's the best way for people to reach out to you and either talk about joining your team or just send referrals over to your team?
Well, the best way to reach me is usually email, jamie@jamiecoxgroup.com. Even connect through Facebook. Shoot me a message on Facebook, send me a friend request, whatever. And yeah, the whole expansion movement is the way that I'm able to keep that vision big enough. We're in the process right now. There's a city just outside of Las Vegas called Henderson. We're in the process of opening up our second location down there. And once we iron out all the kinks, the idea is to attack the Southern California, the Phoenix, going up into Utah, and then start dividing up the country into regions and grow nationwide.
Yeah, very cool. And I want to mention the Facebook group as well. So it's Realtor Lead Generation Tips and Strategies.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. Okay, so make sure. So it's super easy to find. That's how I found it. I was just looking for other resources online on Facebook. So if you just type that in, Realtor Lead Generation Tips and Strategies, you'll find his group. I think it's at last count was at 1,300 and growing, right?
Yeah, I think we're pushing 1,800 now, I believe. Nice. It's just a bunch of agents that sharing exactly what we're doing here, sharing ideas, talking about what you're doing, talking about your mistakes, things like that, just helping each other out.
Well, it grew by one more person throughout this show because I joined during this show.
So you weren't listening rapidly to everything that we were saying, Greg?
Oh, I was riveted. Okay. But I also wanted to get a part and be a part of this because when you mentioned it, I love getting more knowledge from folks like you, Jamie, and other folks that we've interviewed. So yeah, I joined. I can't wait to click through it at the end of the show.
Perfect. Look forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, we are reaching the end of our time, so if anybody's watching the recorded version, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes. Do yourself a favor so you get the content delivered to you fresh and hot weekly or every other weekly when we put these out. Make sure you check out Jamie's Facebook group, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. So we've got a farming training product coming out that's almost finished. It's a 10-video series on how to develop and really dominate a farm area, so there's going to be more details on that to come. We'll let everybody know when that's kind of finished and ready for release. And then definitely make sure to check out the YouTube channel because we've been putting out some shorter educational videos where Greg gives a little bit of some really good tips pulled from that farming product. Just some really nuts and bolts stuff on how to go out, find your farm, what to wear when you're door knocking, how to do it, what to leave them, how to get contact info. So there's a ton of stuff on the YouTube channel, just really practical, nuts and bolts stuff. So until next time, gentlemen, Jamie, once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this. I know it was kind of an off-the-cuff thing. We just met on Facebook here a few weeks back, so I really appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy guy with a lot going on, so we don't take it lightly.
Been fun. Been fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Take care, guys.
See you guys.